This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, speaking of kid, around this era, Meltzer would report that the career of 22-year-old 123 Kid is somewhat in jeopardy after suffering a broken neck at the April 24th television tapings in Omaha. The injury, acknowledged on WWF television programs this past weekend, was believed to be an aggravation of an injury suffered a few days prior while still on the European tour. Kid had suffered a brain concussion, I don't know what other kind there is, on March 12th in Anaheim, and tried to come back too soon and was shaken up again 1 week later during a show at MSG. This left him well below 100% 1 week later at the Tokyo Sumo Hall rather. The injury, a cracked 7th cervical vertebrae, is believed to have occurred when he was in a tag match with Razor Ramon against Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie in a dark match designed to get the four ready for their pay-per-view match scheduled on May 14th in Syracuse. In the match, Ramon did a spot where he did an over the head backwards body slam with Kid onto Roadie, and Kid landed wrong. Roadie wound up pinning Kid with a DDT. And while this isn't confirmed, I believe this was the scheduled finish and not a finish just to end the match immediately because of concern over the injury. According to reports, the first doctor he saw told him his wrestling career was over, but a second opinion thought he would recover in due time. He's still waiting for the results of tests that will come back towards the latter part of this week, which could determine just how serious the break really was. The general belief at press time, and this could change later this week, is that he'll be out of action 2 to 3 months, but still most likely returning to wrestling. In some ways, the injury was similar to a famous injury suffered by Bruno Sammartino in 1976 in his match with Stan Hansen. Sammartino, who was 40 at the time, returned about 10 weeks later, although the return was rushed because he, as the WWF champion, was needed to headline a Shea Stadium rematch. On WWF TV over the weekend, it was announced that Ramon would wrestle both Jarrett and Roadie in a handicap match. We should note that Kid was first taken after the matches to an Omaha hospital before ultimately being sent home to Minneapolis the next day. A very scary situation, especially when you consider he's only 22. What were you hearing about Kid's injury, and were you optimistic that he was going to be okay?
Well, you never really know with neck injuries of that sort, because probably a general practitioner in looking at an injury like that for a normal person would say, oh my God, you can never do what you do. And you really need to go to a specialist who understands exactly what those type of injuries are like, and also someone that works with athletes that are conditioned in a little bit different way. So the experts that work with athletes are a little bit more optimistic that with the proper treatment and the proper rehab, that yes, they can come back from those type of an injury, as long as they do everything right. And they're just scary. It's head injuries, neck injuries. That shit's scary. And the way that the Kid worked was high risk in and of itself. To try and do the things that he did on a nightly basis with an injured neck, it's now you're wondering, what kind of 1-2-3 Kid am I going to have? So knock on wood, thankfully it was something that he was able to come back from. But in the beginning, that shit's always scary, because 9 times out of 10, the first opinion that you get from the first doctor that looks at you that doesn't know you is your career's over. And then you move on and figure it out.
Well, I'm glad he kicked out and was able to return. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.